If you are listening to this, there's a big chance that you understand English. You know a lot of words and grammar rules. You can read articles and watch YouTube videos in English. But when it is your turn to speak, your mind goes blank. You feel nervous. You forget words. If that sounds like you, don't worry. We are going to learn how to fix this problem in this episode of English Out Loud, a podcast that helps you speak English correctly and confidently. So don't just listen to this episode. Pause and repeat the sentences out loud. Because fluency doesn't happen in your head. It happens out loud. Let's begin our first episode. Part 1. The real problem is not vocabulary. Many students think, I can't speak because I don't know enough words. But that's not usually the case. You probably know hundreds, maybe thousands of English words. The real problem is speed. When someone speaks to you, your brain must first understand the message. Then it has to think of an answer and find the correct words. Next, it needs to build the sentence, check the grammar, and finally send signals to your mouth to say it out loud. All of this happens in only a few seconds. That's a lot of work for your brain. So, what happens? Your brain freezes. This is normal. Speaking is a skill, and skills need practice. You cannot learn to swim only by watching swimming videos, and you cannot learn to speak English only by listening to this podcast. You must open your mouth and speak. That's why in this podcast, I encourage you to pause and repeat the sentences out loud. Part 2. Stop translating in your head. This is one of the biggest problems for English learners. When someone asks you a question, you think in your language, build the sentence in your language, translate it into English, correct the grammar, and then finally speak. This process is too complicated and too slow, and it can make you nervous while speaking. Start thinking in simple English, as simple as possible. For example, instead of saying, I would like to express my dissatisfaction regarding this matter, just say, I'm not happy about this. Using simpler grammar structures and basic vocabulary allows you to speak more fluently. And even native speakers use simple sentences all the time. So using simple but correct English doesn't mean your English is bad. Part 3. Train automatic responses. Here is something very important. In conversations, many situations are predictable. For example, when someone says, How was your weekend? You don't need to create a completely new answer every time. Prepare and memorize automatic responses. In this example, you can answer with, It was pretty relaxing. I didn't do much, just stayed home. It was busy, but okay. These automatic responses are simple and easy to remember. So you can prepare your responses for common social situations, practice saying them out loud, and repeat them many times. This builds muscle memory in your mouth. Yes, speaking is also a physical activity. Your tongue and mouth need training. Athletes train their legs and arms. Speakers train their mouths. You can create these automatic responses for the following situations: introducing yourself, talking about your day, talking about your job, giving opinions, agreeing and disagreeing. When you memorize these sentences and don't need to think about their grammar or vocabulary when you're on the spot, speaking becomes easier and more fluent. Part 4. Speak alone. Yes, alone. Many learners say, I don't have anyone to practice speaking English with. That is not a problem. You can practice alone every day. Here's a method that works for everyone. The 3-minute speaking exercise. Choose a simple topic. For example, your favorite food, your hometown, your last vacation, your goals for this year. Then set a timer for 3 minutes. Now sit in front of a mirror and speak about that topic. Do not stop until the end of 3 minutes. If you don't know a word, try explaining it differently. For example, instead of saying, I went hiking, if you forget hiking, say, I walked in nature or I walked in the mountains. After 3 minutes, stop. You can make this exercise more helpful by recording your voice and then listening to it afterwards. Try to find your own mistakes and improve the next day. If you do this every day for 30 days, your speaking will improve dramatically. Trust me. Part 5. Don't fear mistakes. Let me ask you a question. When you hear someone speaking your language with mistakes, do you laugh at them? Probably not. You usually respect them because you know learning another language is difficult. So why are you so hard on yourself when you make a mistake? Mistakes are proof that you are trying, and mistakes are data. They show you what you need to improve. If you wait until your English is perfect and mistake-free, you will never speak. Perfection is the enemy of communication. Fluent speakers are not perfect. Even native speakers don't always speak perfectly. They're comfortable with small mistakes. When speaking English, confidence and not being afraid of making mistakes is as important as grammar rules. Part 6. Shadowing technique. A very powerful exercise that improves both your listening and speaking skills is shadowing. You've probably heard about it. This is how it works. Choose a short audio clip in English, maybe from a podcast or from a movie. Then listen to one sentence, pause it, and repeat it immediately after the speaker. Copy the rhythm, the pronunciation, the intonation, and the speed. Here you're not just learning words, you're training your mouth to move like English speakers. This helps speaking English come to you more naturally. And by the way, because this podcast is for learners like you can use our episodes for shadowing technique. At the end of the podcast, you can replay it, but this time, pause at the end of each sentence and repeat it out loud. Part 7. Slow down. Many learners speak too fast when they are nervous. They think fast speech means fluency. It does not. Clear speech is better than fast speech. If you slow down, you have time to think better about what you are saying. You make fewer mistakes. You sound more confident. Don't be afraid to take small pauses between ideas. For example, I think that learning English takes practice. Pauses make you sound thoughtful, not weak. Even native speakers use pauses. If you listen to professional presenters, they always use pauses to capture the audience's attention. So remember that making pauses is normal, not scary. And it sounds a lot better than using filler sounds like um. Part 8. Build a daily speaking habit. If you are busy and you think you don't have time to improve your English, I have good news for you. You don't need 5 hours a day to improve your speaking. You need consistency. Just 15 minutes every day is more powerful than 2 hours once a week. Here's a simple daily plan for your speaking habits. 10 minutes shadowing, 3 minutes free speaking in front of the mirror, 2 minutes reviewing new phrases. That's 15 minutes. In 1 month, that's more than 7 hours of active speaking practice. Small efforts every day have big results. Final thoughts. So, if you understand English but struggle to speak, you are very close to fluency. You're not at the beginning of this road, you are in the middle. And the middle is where most people quit. Instead of quitting, shift from passive learning, like only listening to this podcast, to active speaking. Open your mouth and speak for 15 minutes every day. Speak simply, speak slowly, and don't be afraid to speak imperfectly. Thank you for listening today. If this episode helped you, listen to it again, and this time pause after every difficult sentence and repeat it out loud. See you in the next episode of English Out Loud podcast. And remember, your English is better than you think. Keep going.